It's the world's largest indoor roller coaster. They call it the Mindbender. But the Fantasyland ride turned into terror for 16 passengers. They were traveling at more than 100 kilometers per hour, picking up speed, going into the final series of 360-degree loops when tragedy struck. 3 of the 4 passengers in that final car were suddenly tossed out. The undercarriage was gone. The train careened forward, still on the tracks, dragging the final car. The emergency brake was then finally applied.
Stopped dead.
And then what happened?
And then just stopped there and waited for help.
Well, you could feel something going bang, bang, bang all the way down it, and you didn't know what was happening because it was shaking a lot.
The remaining passengers were left stranded, some of them hanging upside down for about 20 minutes before they were rescued.
It was pretty scary because we were sitting upside down and we didn't know what was happening, and like we seen people laying on the ground,
3 people, a woman and 2 men, died in the accident. The 4th victim, a man, was rushed to hospital with broken legs and chest injuries, lucky to be alive. The 12 remaining passengers were treated for shock, cuts and bruises. Spokesman for the amusement park said the German-designed and built ride is considered one of the safest in the world, with about 100 others in operation, primarily in Europe. But something went wrong here.
The maintenance people have been looking at the situation as it sits, but the police investigation is going on. It appears from what we can see that a major part of the undercarriage sheared away.
Investigators are now trying to piece together exactly what did happen and why. Many of the passengers on that fatal ride were waiting in line, watching maintenance crews make repairs for about half an hour before they got on. There were others who decided not to risk it. The amusement park will remain closed pending the outcome of the investigation. Dave Rinn, CTV News, Edmonton.
I do everything myself, my plumbing, except for wiring. I hate electricity. I always get shocked.
He's come a long way since surviving one of the darkest days in Edmonton's history.
We're just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
3 people died when the rear car of the Mindbender left the tracks. The victims, 24-year-old Tony Mandrusiak and his fiancée, 21-year-old Cindy Sims, both from Edmonton. Also killed was Rod Chaco's best friend, David Sager from Calgary.
It was just a sudden bang. And then the next thing I knew, the lap bar had come up, and we were starting to fishtail.
I don't think I'll ever ride any ride nobody.
The impact threw Rod Chaco clear, leaving him a changed man.
I have more bad days than good days. What have you got left to do on Brian's picnic table?
Chaco, who now lives in BC, gains his strength from his wife and 4 children, one of whom he named after David Sager. When one life ended, another began for Rod Chaco after the Mindbender tragedy. That accident left him with a broken shoulder, 2 broken legs, a broken pelvis, and a punctured lung. But the injuries went beyond physical. They were psychological for Rod Chaco.
It's a big part of my life, and they changed my life.
For Chaco, they are West Edmonton Mall. This past Wednesday marked 20 years since the disaster, but there was no memorial.
I want a plaque and a ceremony for them, for the families, and for me. It'll help me, maybe, you know, I mean, you don't know. It's 20 years, man. 20 years of hell. And I mean, it's hard.
As is Chaco's mission.
That's only one little thing that we're asking for, you know, I mean, I had to say, they need to show heart, because I've never seen heart from them in the 20 years.
Mall officials contacted Chaco this week but have not agreed on a memorial, even though he's willing to pay for it. The mall also declined CTV's request for an interview.
Well, when I hit the first pillar, I was stood up.
An inquiry determined design and manufacturing defects on a wheel axle assembly caused the disaster. But it's more than just mechanics for Chaco. It's about closing a 2-decade-long story of pain.
There's always a rainbow, no matter what. You know, you just gotta go find it sometimes.